Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chilat Chats con CLCA. My name is Zaira Escalante. I am a third year studying design in Chicanx Studies. I am currently one of CLCA's designers and part of the marketing team. Today, I will be hosting this week's episode, Women in Leadership and Breaking Stereotypes. We will be addressing the obstacles women face in leadership positions, analyzing the way the patriarchy disempowers women, and what we can do to move forward, along with recognizing the women who inspire us to be successful. I am joined today with my guest co-host who will help facilitate this discussion. I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name's Daniela. I am a third year Chicanx Studies major with a minor in both education and psychology. I am CLCA secretary, and I am so happy to be here to talk about women.
Okay, so before we dive into the deeper topics, I would like to begin with asking you, how would you define leadership?
So, to me, leadership is someone who can create a path for others. They're people who show high integrity, humbleness, never thinking they're above anyone else. Someone who has empathy, which is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and understand them and their experiences. And also someone who speaks out about what they believe in.
Yeah, I completely agree. That was everything I wrote down too. I don't feel like I have really much to add to that, but I also agree that is what we usually have in mind when we think about a leader. And so trying to go into the more, I guess, controversial part. So basically we have how the patriarchy influences leadership. So are there any instances you can think of, or situations where you see how the patriarchy impacts the way women move in the workplace and how they assert themselves as leaders?
Yes. Well, I feel like there's just this big stereotype that men have all the power and women aren't as good. I heard that a lot as I was growing up from my own relatives. I remember my uncle was saying oh, you should go to church and find a good man that can provide for you and stuff. But I'm a woman can provide too for herself. It's not all about a man. We have power too.
Yeah, I agree as well. And also, I didn't clarify at the beginning, but for those who don't know what the patriarchy is, just to a little definition, it's a social system in which men hold primary power and dominate in roles of political leadership, moral authority, and social privileges. And so I wanted to share a statistic. It kind of goes into what you're saying as well. So okay, let me see the statistic. I have a lot of notes for this one. So when I was doing research about women in leadership, I stumbled upon this one statistic. So it's a report by LinkedIn, and it showed that statistics of the rate that women and men apply for jobs. And so the report showed that women apply to fewer jobs than men. So women are more hesitant to apply, quote, applying to 20% fewer jobs than men. So what are your thoughts on that? Or what do you think contributes to that?
Yeah, I feel like that sucks. I don't like that statistic. I feel like there's many fields where it's predominantly male oriented, and that can make women not want to apply, and I feel like that's not supposed to be there because anyone can apply. Equality. And yeah, I can see it because sometimes there's fields where I'm oh, I wouldn't go there because it's mostly males, so I don't have a place.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And I feel like going into that with the whole, I feel like it is also rooted in, I guess, machismo. We see women who go for things to be very aggressive, So if they're really outspoken, we sort of kind of try to tone them down. And so if they go in for something, there are people who try to tear them down. I see that a lot. And also going in with how another reason why I see that women do not apply to jobs is because they feel like they have to fulfill every single requirement. And I feel like that is something that we do a lot, again, with the whole thing of, I guess, trying to attain perfection, because women have to play so many roles. They have to play, they have to be accommodating to everybody, basically, And also going off of that, do you have any instances that you can think of where you felt like you've had to accommodate for others, at least in terms of I guess, jobs or maybe projects or
Mm-hmm.
that sort of situation?
I remember I was at an internship at a school, and like you guys know me, I'm very like earthy and like calm. And I remember what my mentor, like my boss, they didn't like that. They wanted me to be more aggressive and like yell at the students and everything because that's what they thought is power, you know, in their eyes. And I was just like, I don't want to have to change myself and like how I am to show that I am powerful. Like I can be powerful and not be like loud and outspoken too. I don't need to be yelling at the students constantly, and that really like made me mad because
Mhm.
they were like, "Crack the whip, Daniela, crack the whip," and I was like, "I'm trying." They would literally say that, and I was like, "Oh my god, I don't think I should change who I am to show that I am powerful. I
Mhm.
can be powerful and be
Yeah,
myself."
exactly.
So
Like
that
I,
was one instance.
like again, yeah, because like we tend to see power as like I guess leadership as exerting your power, and like again for men,
Mm-hmm.
like I guess like an instance that I saw recently that I saw somewhere, like I think like on TikTok, but honestly, like on TikTok, there's like a lot of things like you know, but there was this one video and they were going off, and I was like, yes, but basically they were calling out how you know AOC, right? Everyone knows who AOC is, right? So, well, not everybody, but basically, you know, she is outspoken in politics and like about like asserting her point, and like she honestly makes a lot of good points and like says a lot of things that people aren't willing to say out loud, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like she's like a woman of color, and whenever she goes off I always see so much backlash on her, like about saying, oh, she's throwing a tantrum, but I'm like, come on, do you see
Mm-hmm.
who's our president right now? Like he's throwing a whole tantrum and just telling people to shut up, and people are like, oh, he's so powerful, like, you
I'm
know.
like, what?
And I'm like, what power clownery? That's what it is. Like, I do not understand. And like, that's something that's, I guess, I see as, again, I kind of see what
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about. It's like very frustrating to see how we have
It
to like
is.
dim ourselves down, or again, we can't present ourselves as their most authentic self in the workplace because
Mm-hmm.
people don't like consider that to be, oh, qualities of a leader. But, you know, you don't have to,
Yeah.
like, you know, be so, I guess, commanding and overpowering for people to listen to you. And oh,
Yeah. Snap to that.
um, so also going off of that, how would you say our culture contributes to this? Because like we can talk about it overall, but I feel like there are certain things I kind of touched upon about it a bit, like with machismo. But
Mm-hmm.
how would you see like instances, at least
Yeah,
in
though.
terms of like our culture as like Chicanx, Latinx?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like our culture has a lot of machismo. Like, women are supposed to be the mothers, are supposed to be home, taking care of the children, making the food, you know, like, you're supposed to know how to cook. I don't know how to cook, so my relatives get on my ass because of that a lot. They're like, how are you going to get a husband then? I'm like, I don't want a husband. I don't want that. And there's just a lot of machismo. Like, there's so much that goes with that. Like, they're the head of the house, they're the leaders, they're the ones that provide.
Mhm.
You don't know anything, sit down. And I'm just like,
And but also with the irony of that, because like I think it's so ironic because we hold like the men to be the head of the household, but at the same time,
mm-hmm,
women are the ones doing the work in the household. So it's so confusing to me,
mm-hmm.
see like how we disregard every single thing they do to provide
It's
for
like these
the family.
double standards.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, that's how I feel, and like I think it's just so sad to see that, and like again, they are raising the children, you know, and like being
Mm-hmm.
nurturing, and that's showing leadership abilities because they're guiding their children to like, you
Yeah.
know, be their best versions of themselves, and also like to care for themselves, and also going into
And they're
that,
not praised for it.
and also going into that, like the difference that we raise men and women, like again, women have to be accommodating, and like I feel like for men it's like much less that way, like they have more, you know,
Freedom,
leniency
too.
leniency and so many things. And like again with the whole thing about how men are more outspoken, it's because, you know, they're taught to like go for it. Like again, the whole mindset that men have to think about their career versus a woman who has to think about, oh, I have to
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice all these things in my career to have like a family.
I agree with that. I agree. You made a lot of good points. Like,
Mm-hmm.
true.
So I would like, okay, you already kind of touched up again because we're kind of going out of order, but because like we're all like going across this, we're touching upon so many things. But like, what are some stereotypes about women that you feel are hurtful to like them like being considered leaders? Although you already touched upon it with your own experience, but, like
No, yeah, well, some more stereotypes. Well, like they have to be stay-at-home moms. They need to know how to cook. They're there for their husband. They're there to take care of them. And they're not there to hold leadership positions. They're just there for like support. They're like a background character. And I
mm-hmm.
feel like that's so bad. Like, no. They're supposed to be in the front, not in the back.
Yeah, I agree
And
with
no, yeah, there's. Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. No, because I do tend to see that, you know, again, with the whole thing that men go for opportunities more than women. Like even in the classroom, I see that a lot in terms of like people who are the ones asking the questions. Like at the end, like you only mostly see like even it's so crazy because like you know we go to Davis, right, and like the majority are women, but all I see the people who participate are men, and I'm like not to say that they shouldn't participate, but I'm like in a classroom, like a lecture hall of like almost like 200 students, and most of the ones who participate, like not even half are women. It's just really, really just like sad.
Surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like I didn't even think about it until I saw this one video where they were talking about that, and I'm like thinking, you know, back to Davis, and I'm just like, wow, like yeah, because like I hardly see that, and even with myself, like I see myself hesitating, like when I like want to participate, because like I get into it,
Mm-hmm.
like what if I'm wrong? But then there's so many other people participating, and like you know
And they're wrong sometimes
they're
too.
wrong too. They're like wrong sometimes as well. So it's like crazy to
So
think
I'm
that
like,
you're not taking the chance to like you know for any opportunity,
mm-hmm.
you know. Okay, so
No, yeah. And I'm guilty of that too. Like I hesitate and I'm like, I want to raise my hand, but I don't.
mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I'm gonna be wrong. But why am I feeling that way?
Again, it's like the whole mentality that like we underestimate our own abilities as women. Like again, like so many women they hesitate to take the opportunity because we're too busy thinking, what if we're not enough, you know? And like
Mm-hmm.
again, there are people who are less qualified. Like I saw this one quote, they're like, for every job you don't take, there's a more unqualified, mediocre white man taking the opportunity.
Oh my god.
And like so true. It's so true and it's so sad. And like I again like that I see that within myself again. Like like I hesitate to like take job opportunities because I'm like, oh, like you see through the list and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many things, and like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to do some of those things, but for certain qualifications I'm like I know how to do those things, but you just like hold yourself back a lot,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
sometimes those things you know how to do, that's enough. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a learning process.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we should really encourage women to like take that chance. Like yes, maybe you don't know those skills yet, but you can always have room to grow, because like that's what many men do when they do like you know go into the workplace. They're like, oh, I don't know these skills but I can learn, and like they give them a
Mm-hmm.
job. So why can't we do the same, you know?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that
So
was
we need to take more opportunities.
yeah, that's like the basis. Also, another thing I was thinking about that came like across my mind, I mean I kind of went over it, but also the way we present ourselves as women. Like again, if you're not seen smiling and stuff, like you're people assume,
Mm,
or if you even ask for respect, like people think that you're being like a bitch, and I'm like, I'm just asking for
yeah.
you to be courteous or to like do your job. I'm asking you to do your
Mm-hmm.
job, and I feel like sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, oh, like I'm asking demanding something from someone and it feels wrong to ask for it, and
No,
it's
yeah.
not, it shouldn't be.
It's crazy. You're like demanding the bare minimum too.
Mm-hmm.
You have that right, and you don't feel like you should. So it
Mm-hmm.
blows my mind.
And it's sad, and like kind of going into another direction. I guess I feel like women should search to like be equal in every single aspect, and like again, going into a this is something else, but I guess like even in relationships, like we should be empowered in every area of our life and be leaders in every area, and it should not just be strictly workplace. It should be at our home, within ourselves, in our relationships, like
Mm-hmm.
whether romantic or platonic relationships. I feel like we should really demand respect.
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
We should be with people who support us, and like not have people who discourage us. I feel like something that is like very discouraging is when people ask you to like step down. Like as women, we so often step down. Like even people don't ask us to step down, but we do it because we're like we're thinking of the collective, and we don't think about ourselves
Mm-hmm.
when we should be doing that.
Ourselves.
'Cause, like why are we like not taking the opportunity? Like we should be doing that. And because again, like men are taught to like to sort of think more, not just more about themselves, but yeah, about their own
Mm-hmm.
personal success. And we're so busy thinking about like, oh, this person, this other person, I can't do this because of this, or I don't want to hurt this person's feelings because I want to run for this. And I'm like, do it. Just do it. It doesn't matter.
No, yeah. I feel like I'm barely starting to think that way, like a few months or like, yeah, a few months. I was like, nah, I should just, think about the other person so they can grow. But I'm like, I need to pause and think about myself too. I'm like, what I want to grow too. So why am I going to give them the opportunity and not myself? So you just have to think like that. Give yourself the opportunity to grow.
Also going off of that, also thinking about how we also pit women against each other so much for every single thing, like for for in work and relationships and so many things. We always pit like women against each other, and it's like it shouldn't be that way. We should be like working together to make space at the table for
Mm-hmm.
other women to like enter the field. Like why are we fighting against each other? Like I don't understand. That's so frustrating.
Yeah, you're there to support each other, not to fight. It is really frustrating because we're
Because
supposed to have our backs.
yeah, I'm like, why the hostility? Like, you should be glad. Like, again, like how we were saying, how there are some like fields or, where there are very little women, and then you see them pitting two
Mm-hmm.
women against each other, and I'm like, for what? They're both equally qualified to be there in that space, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
hmm Okay. So now on like a happier note, talking about the women who who inspire us, or who at least we can take like qualities from, that we feel like
Mm-hmm.
display leadership. What is like a few women that you can think of, that you, when you think of a leader, that's who you think of?
Okay, the first woman that has really inspired me recently is Yalitza Aparicio. She's a Oaxaqueña. She's a Mexican actress. She represents the indigenous woman. She was the protagonist of the film Roma, which, by the way, you should all watch. It's a really good movie. And she went into it with no acting experience, throwing herself literally into that Hollywood world where we all know that they are very racist towards POCs.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that she got backlash because of the way she looked, because of her skin,
Mm-hmm.
because of her non-European features, because people are not accustomed to seeing her on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found it so stupid how even her own community was going up against her because of the way she looked. I'm like, you're supposed to be supporting her, not tearing her down. But besides that, she like got up and continued with grace and dignity. I also remember I saw this one video where she said that she was afraid of the ocean, and there's a scene in the movie where she has to go into the ocean and she just like throws herself. So it's really admirable that she's like facing her own fears, and that's something that we should all like take upon. And I also look up to her because she's an activist. She's an empowering woman who's seeking change for other indigenous women whose situations we usually don't know about. and it's really important because she's out there talking to the UN about it and bringing it to light. So that's one of my inspirations.
Mm-hmm. Like you, like, well, based on what you were saying about her, like I do think about also like the differences between women of color, you know, in
Mm-hmm.
leadership roles. Like again, like most the women that I wrote down are like women of color, you know, like for the exception of one, but she's valid though. But
Okay.
yeah, it's crazy because it's her own community, right? And they're not supporting
Yeah.
her. It's so crazy because, and again, it's going with the whole thing how we value women based on looks,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not her ability. Like she's out here like again throwing herself in the ocean, even though she's like afraid to do so. And like,
Mm-hmm.
like she did like a really good job on her role. I mean, like her awards can attest.
Yeah, she got nominated for an Oscar. Like
Like
she's breaking barriers.
yeah, like our qualifications not enough. You know, it's on paper. Like it's like you can see it. It's
Mm-hmm.
right there. Okay. So I guess one woman that I thought like I feel like empowers me or that I think of like when I think of a leader would be like Rihanna. Like we all know Rihanna, but
Ooh.
but she's basically like a little bit like background. I'm not gonna go into her singing, but like really good singer, but she's the creator of Fenty Beauty, so it's like a makeup line that celebrates women of all shades, along with Savage by Fenty, her lingerie line. Prior to her success, like she was on the verge of bankruptcy, but like after when she started her new line, she turned it all around, and now she's like one of like the most successful women like in business, and it's so crazy,
Growth.
you know, like how she can go. She went from bankrupt to
Mm-hmm.
like
The
I don't know,
top.
billionaire, like billionaire, millionaire. I don't even know, but she's successful. And like one of the things that I thought like I admire about her is that she is like so giving to her community. Like I know she set up a foundation for her community back in Barbados. So that comes to
Mm-hmm.
show that she has like filled her own cup of self worth and she is willing to give back to others, you know, and it's purely out of her wanting to give back, you know, to other people. And she also is
Yeah.
unapologetically herself and does not follow trends. She starts them, which I think is yes. I'm like, you know, you see like
We love to see
everybody,
it.
yeah, like every single thing she does, like people lining up now, like because of her, so many like more companies are making new shades for like to be more inclusive to like every woman, you know, and all
And that's
sizes.
so important.
And she was like one of the first women to do that, like, and you know, in like a industry that just values a certain look. And also
Mm-hmm.
something I really admire about her is that she is very private about her own personal life, so she separates that from her personal life, and I feel like that's very professional of her because like
Yeah.
you know, especially with the kind of industry that she was in prior to, you know, it's like very like Hollywood, so it's like a lot of drama,
Mm-hmm.
and she separated herself from that completely, and now she's like you know succeeding even more than she ever was before. And along with that, I got like a quote from her own line that she said that Savage is really about taking complete ownership of how you feel and the choices you make, basically making sure everybody knows the ball is in your court. So I thought that was really cool. I
Oh,
was like, yes, yeah.
write that down somewhere.
I'm like, I have
That's
it.
really
I have
powerful.
it on my notes. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
what's another
I
one?
love me. Me, I'm like, I love her. um,
We love Rihanna.
so we love Rihanna. Rihanna, come back.
We said maybe.
Maybe. Um, so another one of my inspirations is Frida Kahlo. She's a Mexican artist, a feminist, a lover, just a revolutionary woman. She went through so much tragedy in her life because of accidents and because of her pig of a husband, Diego Rivera. Like, oh, what an asshole! Just, but she loved him, but what an asshole. And
We don't speak
that
of.
never, we don't speak of him. But despite that, it never stopped her from pursuing her passions, and I feel like that's really admirable. She was able to express her pain and betrayals through her art in such a beautiful way. Like if you look at her paintings, like oh, the symbolism. Like if you haven't, go look at her art right now. But I also admire her because of her love for Mexico, the way she dressed with indigenous influence like styles, like her Tehuanan skirts, her huipiles, which are blouses that are embroidered, usually in Oaxaca. She also she had facial hair, she had a fractured spine, a leg that was longer than the other, a unibrow. Things that aren't conventionally beautiful, she had it all. And in today's time when like people are so focused on wanting to be perfect, Frida really teaches us like not to give a fuck and to be who we are. She was unapologetic about who she was. She never pretended to be something she wasn't. And that's why she is a revolutionary icon. And that's why she inspires me. Like, I try to use, I think some of you know, like, I use Weepy List and like colorful stuff because of her. Like, I feel so empowered when I wear them. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is culture. This is like work right here. And yeah.
Yeah. And supporting the women's businesses, the ones who make the actual, you know, the art, the clothing, because they get paid so little and like for their work, and it's really good work. Like I don't know, like I think you talked about that too, right?
Yeah, indigenous women not getting recognized for their work, and sometimes people steal their designs and they make more profit than them, and I'm just like, bro, that's another topic that gets me mad. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So another woman that I took note of, and it also kind of goes into what you were saying prior, like about yourself, but that I admire a lot is FK Twigs. She's a music artist, and she's a dancer, singer, songwriter from London, and she puts her full effort in every project she accomplishes. And something like really, honestly, mind blowing that like she said, like I didn't even know until like she came out with her new album was that basically she took like months to perfect pole dancing for one single scene for one of her videos, just like one scene, and now it's like her thing. Like she's so good at it. Like she perfected that her craft, and
it's amazing.
She puts, and during that time she was recovering from surgery. Like she had like I think she had tumors growing in her like ovaries, and it was like really painful for her. And when she was dancing, she would have to go to the bathroom all the time because of like the pressure from the tumors. And someone told her, "Oh, you're so lazy because you have to keep going to the bathroom." And that was before she and like that inspired her to like go back and like start doing the work and like practicing every single day, like pole dancing and like putting her full effort in her craft, which I think is like it's amazing. I'm just like her mind. I can't. And also,
no, yeah, Zaira got me into her, and oof, she's beautiful.
Look her up. But something else that I really love about her, what you were saying before, she's regarded as very like regards herself as very reserved and quiet, but she still has such a powerful presence. Like again, because like her work speaks for itself. You know, even though she feels she is like when you see her or you've seen interviews of her, she's like very quiet, but she's so powerful. And you don't have to be overpowering to be powerful, to have that presence. And I feel like that is something so amazing. And also that something that she says a lot is that strength is vulnerability. Vulnerability is strength. And I feel like that's awesome too.
that's powerful. No, yes. She can stay silent, and that's the most powerful thing she can do. She can just stare at me, and I'll be like,
no, yeah, because I've been going back with the whole thing about how if you're not like the loudest in the room, sometimes like people think, oh, they must not have much to offer, and that's just not true. It's not true. And
not
I feel
true.
like that's something like I regard myself as very reserved too, but I feel like I stand within myself, and I believe in like have my morals, my values, and I feel like that's enough for me. And like if other people don't feel the same, well, that's fine. I'll just go on. It's okay.
Preach it. I love that. Everything is that sparkle. Yes. So another woman that inspires me is Selena Quintanilla. You all know her. She is a Mexican artist, a Mexican American artist. She created a pathway for many Latin artists today. She broke barriers within a male-dominated industry, like Tejano music. And now
Mm-hmm.
she's regarded as the queen of Tejano music. Like, wow. Like, imagine that. She really was a movement. For many fans, it was the first time they saw someone who looked like them and who was singing in their language under the spotlight and being so successful. And she was really a proud Chicana herself. She would sing in Spanish and she spoke English first. So she was really living in like these two worlds. She showed people that that's possible. And I'm a Chicana, so I'm inspired by that too. You can be proud of your roots and where you come from. And her voice still prevails. I mean, look, we're listening to her music in my household every day.
Mm-hmm.
So she's really inspiring. And her fashion, just who she was. Every time I see her, I'm just like, oh my God, I love you. I wish you were here.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Her music, timeless, and like so successful, so successful, and like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a really good like figure for like women of color, especially Chicanas, Latinas. Because like
Yeah.
you don't see again with the Tejano music thing. I saw that
Mm-hmm.
Tejano music was really male dominated, and having her, and she was like young, so young too when she went in it, and like
Yeah.
she took over, and it's crazy, just because she had faith in herself to like go into those spaces. She was like, whatever, I'm gonna do it.
Sometimes you just really need to believe in yourself and do what Savannah did. Go and take over the male dominated
Mm-hmm.
fields or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is like the last um person that I had on my list. It's not her name is Marina Diamandis, also known as, well, was known as Marina and the Diamonds. She's now known just as Marina, but she's like a music artist who started her career going to various pubs and open mics, trying to make her big break. She went as far as dressing up as a guy for an audition for a boy band. For her, like,
Oh.
yeah, it was. I thought it was so funny. I was like, what? And it caught her, obviously. So they caught her though, because they were like, yeah, this isn't happening. But based off that, they were so amused by that they sent her music
Uh-huh.
to a record label and they signed her. They ended up signing her because they were like, what? Like, just astounded by the
Yeah.
fact that she went to the audition, because she wanted it that bad. And she kept getting rejected every time, but she kept going back, It didn't stop her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also like another reason that I really admire her is because she's like very in control of her art. Like in the beginning of like some interviews I saw of her, like she was talking about how she was regarded as a bitch and like really controlling because she just wanted to be there like every step of the process for her art because she loves it. But people were like, oh,
Yeah.
she's difficult to work with because she's here. But I'm like, she wants to be there for like every single process. She wants to learn and she wants to like have something that's her own. And I don't see anything wrong with
Yeah.
that. If it were a guy, they'd be like, he's a go-getter. He's out there. But if it's a woman,
He's working hard.
yeah, they're like, get out of here. And it's like, oh, why? And
The double standards.
the double standard. Also admire her because like of her beliefs, like because I resonate with a lot of them, and she advocates for a lot of causes on her platform, such as women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and mental health. And something that she's also very open about is her struggles with depression and anxiety, and her
Mm-hmm.
journey through healing, which I think is very amazing too. Again, she's showing her vulnerability with like a lot of people, and it's like a very touchy subject. But she's still so powerful. Like I still see her as a powerful woman regardless. But also being able to see her like as a human being. And like we can have our off days. We don't have to be on every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that's something really cool and like something that a leader would do, like to show your humanity with other people and that you're not above other people, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, yeah.
And something else was that she was really criticized for changing her music style throughout her eras. For every single album, she changed the style completely. But it was always really good, at least in my opinion. That's just me. But her music is
I agree. I
yeah.
listen to Marina too.
Because like I know her producers told her, "Oh, don't do that. Don't change the sound. Stay pop." And she was like, "This is not making me happy." And in the end, she ended up taking her own direction, and now she writes everything completely by herself, and everything is made by her. For her audience because she doesn't care about what anybody else thinks or about commercial success either. It's her own personal success that matters.
Ugh, I love that for her. Like, she's out there being happy and successful the way she wants to, and that's how it should be.
Exactly.
Don't let a man tell you what you should be doing and we shouldn't be doing.
Anybody, or like hesitate either. So wait, you don't have any other ones, right? Or
No. Yeah, I just had 3. But I love all women. Me.
they're my
I'm like fictional characters. Mulan.
yeah, Mulan, another leader.
Mulan.
Yes, but also okay. So, like, just to kind of like wrap this up, what are some of those traits that you take from them that you or advice that you would give to other people, like at least women who are trying to be in leadership positions but maybe don't feel certain about themselves, that they can take away from like the ones that we gave, or at least advice that we have that we could give to them?
I would tell them to just go for it, because I honestly also felt that way before. I felt like there were certain positions I wouldn't be able to go for because I'm not qualified or I'm just scared. But sometimes being uncomfortable is a way to grow too. And I just say go for it, because it can take you so many places. It makes you grow as a person and experience. Just, you have to put yourself out there in leadership positions to create change. And not just leadership positions, but anywhere you want. And yeah, just go for it. And I know you can do it. Because we are powerful.
Great.
What about you, Zaira?
Well, I would say some lessons that I've learned like throughout the years, and at least like from the women that I mentioned, would be to not waste my energy on people who see what they want to see. That's like one of the things that I would be so focused on what other people thought, like again with the whole like insecurities within myself, and I'd be like, oh, if I do this then I'm going to be seen as this, again with the whole being demanding, because I'm the kind of person like I want things to go now. Like I want things to be efficient, and I feel like that's not a bad trait to have, but again, like I get so caught up in like, oh, if I do that then people are going to think I'm like, really demanding. But I'm like, I want to do the best, because like that's how I am. I always want to grow, and I don't think that I should like lower myself for that. I think that's one thing. And also something else to keep in mind, people will always project on you. That's something else. So if people see yourself, like if they see you as intimidating just because you assert yourself, they're like, it's just a problem within themselves and not anything to do with you. Like you should be able to stand in your own power without taking anyone down, of course, without having other people try to tear you down. I feel like you should just like,
continue to be your authentic self, because that's you and that's powerful. And if someone is scared about that, you're doing something good, in my opinion.
Also, yeah, going off what you were saying, also if you're true to who you are, then nothing else really matters. As long as you are going, like you are in your own individual path, and just take that risk. And also it's important to master yourself and who you are, that way you have appropriate boundaries, and again taking those risks that you need to take.
I saw this one TikTok that was like, women can literally end the whole human race by refusing to have children, yet men have all the power. Much to think about. Literally.
So do you have any other closing comments before we end the podcast?
I love women.
We love women.
Women are powerful.
Yes, we're powerful.
Empower yourself. Oh, listen to some good songs. You have recommendations?
FK Twigs, Marina the Diamond, just Marina now. And who else?
Just Marina.
Rihanna. We have Rihanna too. We'll see if she releases the next album.
Please.
Thank you for joining us today. And also, thank you to Daniela for helping me facilitate this discussion and for her input. We hope you join us for our next podcast. If you would like to reach out, we encourage you to follow us on our socials at underscore CLCA UCD on IG and at CLCA UCD on Facebook. And if you want to reach us or contact us personally, if you just want to rant or like any recommendations for powerful women, or you just, just want to talk,
Just want to chat.
our handles are at Elite Fleur and at Daniela Loves Pizza.
It's really easy. It's just like that.
So thank you, and see you in our next podcast.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.